Nottoway County 911. What is your emergency? What's wrong?
She's just beside herself. It's too much. You know, you're listening to a mother that has just found their daughter dead.
On the bitterly cold day of December 16, 2004, Bobbie Jo Stinett was found dead on her dining room floor by her mother. She was only 23 years old and 8 months pregnant, but there was no baby in sight.
Lisa told me that she cut the cord, held it between her fingers, put the baby inside her coat, and went out the door and got in her vehicle and drove off.
How did an infant go missing straight from the mother's womb? Was the baby alive or suffered the same fate as the poor mother? Welcome back to Mysterious 7. I'm Corey, and today we are looking at the disturbing case of Bobbie Jo Stinett. Let's get right into the story. Bobbie Jo was born in rural northwest Missouri on December 4th, 1981. She was a happy, loving, and quiet person growing up. In 2000, she graduated from high school with good grades. 2 years later, she tied the knot with her high school sweetheart, Zeb Stinnett. After marriage, the couple happily settled in the small farming community of Skidmore, Missouri. Skidmore is best known for the legendary tale of town bully Ken McElroy's murder in 1981. Bobbie Jo and Zeb were avid animal lovers. Together, the young couple bred rat terrier dogs outside of their home. They also worked at Kawasaki Motors Manufacturing Company to make ends meet, but their true passion was in their dog breeding venture. Bobbie Jo regularly contributed to Ratter Chatter, an internet forum with a group of fellow rat terrier breeders. On the platform, the group members discussed the specifics of breeding, showing, and caring for the dogs. Over time, Bobbie Jo became very close to the other group members. Alongside sharing their passion for rat terriers, they shared details of their lives outside of dog breeding. The couple decided to extend their family soon after their marriage. Bobbie Jo shared the good news with the group that she was pregnant and was expecting her first child in January 2005. On December 16, 2004, Zeb left for work at Kawasaki Motors, leaving Bobbie Jo home alone with the dogs. She was waiting for a client, Darlene Fisher. In late 2004, one of Bobbie Jo's friends from Ratter Chatter, Jason Dawson, got an email from a woman named Darlene Fisher asking if anybody was interested in providing puppies in northern Missouri for adoption, since she wanted to get a puppy for her child for Christmas. Although Dawson did not meet Darlene, it was not unusual to receive such a request from a stranger, since Ratter Chatter was a popular forum. Dawson knew who could be the perfect choice for this: Bobbie Jo. Her female dog had had a litter just before Christmas, and the puppies would be ready to go to new homes in time for Christmas. He gave Fisher Bobbie Jo's name and website address. Once the two women talked, everything was finalized. Fisher came across as perfectly friendly when they talked on the forum the previous evening. Bobbie Jo told Fisher to come by her place on December 16th to look at the puppies. It was a mere 25-minute drive from where Fisher lived to Skidmore, Missouri. Nothing felt out of the ordinary to Becky Harper, Bobbie Jo's mother, when she called her daughter at around 2:15 p.m. After the usual conversation between the mother and daughter, Bobbie Jo added that a woman was coming by to look at the puppies that afternoon. 15 minutes later, at around 2:30 p.m., Bobbie Jo heard a knock on the door, and she cut off the conversation, saying that her visitor had arrived and she had to go. Becky had no idea this would be the last time she would ever speak to her daughter. At 3:30 p.m., Becky went to see her daughter. She entered the home only to find a scene so horrific that it looked like it was straight out of a horror movie. Blood was all over the floor, and poor Bobbie Jo was lying unconscious in that pool of blood. Her stomach had been brutally slashed, but the fetus was nowhere to be found. In her fists, she clenched strands of long blonde hair. Becky dialed 911 with shaking hands. In that anguishing call, Becky told the 911 operator that it appeared as if her daughter's stomach had exploded. The operator was stunned to hear of an infant being ripped straight from her mother's womb. but help was immediately dispatched to help the dying woman. The efforts would fall short, and 23-year-old Bobbie Jo was pronounced dead at 4:27 p.m. Paramedics concluded that the baby was most likely alive while being ripped out of the womb, given that she was almost at full term. However, they feared the baby would be much smaller than usual and could be in distress after enduring such a traumatic birth. The incident was heartbreaking, but investigators had to continue their search for Bobbie Jo's murderer, as well as her missing child. Investigators began asking around in the neighborhood to see if anyone saw anything unusual. One resident said they had, in fact, seen a car in the community that they had never seen before. It was a dirty, old red car parked in Stinnett's driveway sometime around 2:30 p.m. The battered vehicle was at least 10 years old, maybe older. By default, the first suspicion fell on the person closest to the victim, Zeb Stinnett, Bobbie Jo's husband. However, he was quickly ruled out when his alibi of having left work at 7 p.m. and returning home only after hearing the bad news checked out. The devastated husband indeed had nothing to do with the murder. The news spread like wildfire. After all, the crime was so unusual that it was almost impossible to believe. People were enraged to know about the heartless killer who literally ripped the baby out of the mother's womb, leaving her to die there. But the investigators' primary concern was finding the infant safe and sound. The Nottoway County Sheriff's Department decided to put an Amber Alert for the missing baby. However, this was no easy task considering, unlike other missing child cases, they did not have the most basic details, such as eye color or hair color. They did not even have information about the baby's gender. Yet, detectives were determined to reunite the missing baby with her family. So, against all odds, an alert was put out around 12:30 a.m. on December 17th. The FBI got involved after nationwide media attention was drawn to the case. They searched Bobbie Jo's computer for information and found the messages between Fisher and Bobbie Jo. A message from the username Fisher for Kids to Bobbie Jo on December 15, 2004 read, "I was recommended to you by Jason Dawson and have been unable to reach you by either phone or email. Please get in touch with me soon, as we are considering the purchase of one of your puppies and would like to ask you a few questions." Later in the same evening, Bobbie Jo replied, "Darlene, I've emailed you with the directions so we can meet. I do hope that the email reaches you. Great chatting with you on Messenger, and do look forward to chatting with you tomorrow a.m. Thanks. Talk to you soon, Darlene. Have a great evening, Bobbie." Investigators had the name Darlene Fisher, who was from Fairfax but had no information about her. The FBI tried to trace the name, but to no avail. On December 17, 2004, FBI computer security analyst Melissa Irwin located the Kansas phone number from where the dial-up connection was made, which was registered to Kevin Montgomery on South Adams Road in Malvern, Missouri. After obtaining an address, the detectives began to watch the house. Shortly after, at around 1 p.m., a dirty red Toyota Corolla with a Kansas license plate pulled up to the driveway. When detectives knocked on the door, they found Kevin Montgomery and his wife Lisa, along with their newborn baby girl. When asked about his whereabouts on December 16th, Kevin told them that he had arrived home at 5:15 p.m. and took a call from his wife. She said she had been shopping in Topeka and had gone into labor. Piling up his 2 teenage children in his pickup truck, they went to pick up Lisa and the baby. When they reached her, Lisa was already waiting for them in the parking lot of a Long John Silver restaurant. Kevin was so proud to bring home the newest addition to the family, a newborn daughter. Lisa had told her husband that after her labor started, she was taken to the Birth and Women's Center in Topeka, where she gave birth to the baby girl. But when the FBI checked, they were told that no birth had been recorded there that day. Already suspicious about Lisa, detectives separately questioned her. After being confronted, Lisa changed her story and said that she had given birth at home in the presence of 3 friends. Unable to provide the names of the others present, Lisa changed her story again. She said they weren't physically with her, they were on the phone with her. As detectives started to peel away the layers of her lies, she knew she was losing ground. Eventually, Lisa broke down and confessed that the child was indeed Bobbie Jo's daughter, whom she had abducted. Investigators determined that Lisa's husband, Kevin, was unaware of his wife's criminal activities. She had convinced him that she was pregnant and had given birth to their biological daughter. It did not take much time to figure out how Lisa would have hatched such a plan and how Bobbie Jo fell into her grasp. Lisa Marie was born on February 27th in Melbourne, Kansas. Luck would not be on her side from the day she opened her eyes. Her mother's alcohol addiction during pregnancy led her to be born with permanent brain damage. From an early age, Lisa was raised in a physically, emotionally, and sexually abusive home. To pay for her addiction, her mother began selling her to male friends and acquaintances for sex when she was still young. Lisa's older sister Diane received the same treatment from their mother. However, when Diane was 8 and Lisa was just 4, social services removed Diane from the house and put her in a loving foster home. Unfortunately, the same was not done for Lisa. She had to stay with her mother. While social services did visit the home, no action was taken. Starting at the age of 11, Lisa was repeatedly raped by her stepfather, a man her mother would marry after Diane was gone from the house. The stepfather had kept Lisa in a trailer in the woods for days and raped and sodomized Lisa whenever he pleased. Because the area was so secluded, no one could hear her screaming. However, she stopped resisting after he slammed her head so hard into the concrete floor that she sustained a traumatic brain injury. After Lisa's mother learned about the rape, she beat her and blamed her for the abuse. To endure the torture, Lisa turned to alcohol and developed an addiction to it. At the age of 17, Lisa tried to escape the torment, but not before her mother forced her to marry her stepbrother, Carl Bowman, in 1986. Unfortunately, the abuse did not stop, as her husband regularly raped and beat her. With Bowman, she had 4 children. The family lived in severe poverty and received multiple visits from social services. Eventually, the marriage fell apart. In 2000, Lisa married her second husband, Kevin Montgomery, an electrician. Not long into their relationship, Montgomery told her husband she had been pregnant, then said she had miscarried. However, this would have been impossible as Lisa had her tubes tied years earlier and would have been unable to get pregnant. In 2004, Lisa was also a dog breeder, dog show participant, and a fellow member of the Ratter Chatter Forum who lived in Melbourne, Kansas. Around the same time, when Bobbie Jo shared the news of pregnancy, Lisa also announced her pregnancy on the site. Lisa also claimed that she was supposed to give birth to twins, but one baby had died, and she was due to give birth to the surviving baby in December. Yet, despite her due date getting closer, she did not appear to gain any weight, leading her fellow dog breeders to be suspicious of Lisa's pregnancy claims. But no one had a clue as to what lengths Lisa would go to get a baby. Bobbie Jo, however, considered Lisa to be a friend of hers. She had no reason to distrust Lisa. Throughout the pregnancy, these two women exchanged messages about the ups and downs of pregnancy, baby names, and supplies they had planned to buy. In April 2004, Bobbie Jo and Lisa met at a dog show in Abilene, Kansas. Everything seemed normal. Poor Bobbie Jo had no idea that the devil would come in the form of a familiar face. More evidence was discovered in the further search. The rope used to strangle Bobbie Jo and the bloody knife used to cut her baby out were found in Lisa's car. An examination of her computer showed that she had researched cesareans and ordered a birthing kit. Lisa was arrested soon after confessing to the crime. Bobbie Jo's baby daughter was finally reunited with her family. The family was delighted to get back the infant, considering they did not hold much hope to see her alive after such a disturbing birth. On December 20th, 2004, just 4 days after Bobbie Jo's brutal murder, Lisa was charged with the capital offense of kidnapping, resulting in death. Her trial began in 2007. The testimonies were significant in this case, along with all the physical evidence and Lisa's confession. Bowman, Lisa's ex-husband, with whom Lisa was in a custody battle over their 4 children at the time of the murder, testified that his ex-wife could not have been pregnant because she had undergone tubal ligation in 1990 due to complications from the previous childbirth. However, Bowman claimed Lisa went on to fake 2 more pregnancies after the procedure while they were still married. He claimed that Lisa committed this crime because she was desperate to prove her previous pregnancies were not lies in order to gain custody of her children. Kevin testified that his wife had claimed to be pregnant 3 times since they had been married. Each time, he believed her. Lisa claimed to Kevin that she got abortions during the first 2 supposed pregnancies. Lisa convinced Kevin that the abortion was needed because there was something wrong with the baby. The 3rd time was different, however, and when he went to pick Lisa up in Topeka, genuinely believed it was their baby. He added that he knew nothing about the tubal ligation. Lisa's defense tried to claim insanity to avoid the death penalty. Her lawyer said that she was suffering from severe mental illness due to the extreme abuse that took place throughout almost her whole life. They claimed that Lisa suffered from the delusional disorder pseudocyesis, a condition in which a woman's body mimics all the signs and symptoms of being pregnant, but she isn't actually pregnant. It was also said Lisa was delusional, and along with pseudocyesis, she had depression, borderline personality disorder, and PTSD. All of these combined factors sent Lisa to a dreamlike state when she murdered Bobbie Jo. However, the jury did not buy this claim. They believed that Lisa planned the whole ordeal, which is a clear sign of premeditation. She also knew that there was a risk of Bobbie Jo dying, but left her there bleeding to death anyway. On October 22, 2007, after just 5 hours of deliberation, the jury found Lisa guilty of kidnapping leading to death. 4 days later, they recommended the death penalty. On April 4, 2008, U.S. District Judge Gary A. Fenner officially sentenced Lisa to death. After several appeals, Lisa Montgomery was finally executed by lethal injection shortly after midnight on January 13, 2021, having exhausted the appeals process. She became the first female federal inmate in 67 years to be executed by the United States federal government, and the 4th overall. After 17 years of pause, justice was finally served. Bobbie Jo's daughter, Victoria, is reportedly doing very well, yet she has never publicly commented on the incident. We hope the family has a sense of peace, knowing that the culprit is gone now and is unable to hurt anyone else. The day of little Victoria's birth should have been celebrated, but instead, it became a nightmare after losing Bobbie Jo. Do you think that if some action was taken when Lisa was being abused, that it could have later saved Bobbie Jo's life? Or would she have become a heartless murderer anyway? Let us know your insight into this tragic case in the comments section. Thank you for joining us in today's story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating true crime stories like this. Stay tuned for more episodes.